highs, relapses, late night calls, therapist, detox, emotional brawls. I've lived through chaos, tears, and gaslighting, blame, and now I've turned it into a podcast game.
My very first podcast, and who would be my very first guest but my best friend Byron.
I'm so honored to be here today. I love you so very much. I love you so very much. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so I'm Byron Beck, and I'm a friend of Samantha, and I've been a friend of Samantha since I think 2008. It was about the time you came into our city, and I follow you all over the world. I followed you from Alaska, the highest points of Alaska, as high as you can in the United States, all the way down to the very tip of Florida to Key West. So I've been around you a bit. And
you've been around a long time.
And what's interesting about it, as far as many places I've followed you everywhere, it's been, the hard part is that no matter where we went, addiction kind of followed you. And I think it's really important you're doing this podcast because of that. Do you agree?
I do. You know, I thought long and hard about this podcast and about what I wanted it to be. And, you know, I find humor in some of the darkest places of my life. And I looked at my last sort of 21 years of marriage, and for a long time, I think I thought, here's the end of it, and I have nothing to show for it except pain and agony, right? And so I wanted to do this podcast because I survived the 21 years. And there's nothing I haven't gone through in 21 years. And I mean nothing. And I would look into these groups on Facebook and listen to these stories from other people. And I thought, you know what? The Addict has podcasts, books, shows, celebrities who are proud of their sobriety. But no one ever talks about the wives, the husbands, the mothers, the fathers, the siblings, the friends. They kind of get left in the lurch, you know. Nobody ever talks about them, and they have no place to go, and they have no place to feel safe. They have other, you know, programs similar to The Addict, and those work or don't work for some people. Didn't work for me. I wanted a place where I could be honest and be like, money was stolen again, or another hooker I found on a cell phone bill.
Right.
And I couldn't do that in those meetings. And so
I have to ask you a question. I mean, this is a safe space, and I think it's really important. But what was I mean, it's a little bit crazy, super brave, but you know what I mean? I mean, why are you doing this? Because you're going to put some stuff out there, but I think it's a little bit, I think it's super brave and super crazy, but tell me why you need to do it.
I think I need to do it because I've been so honest about my journey with the close people in my life. I'm an open book. I have no secrets. You know, I know what my part was in this 21 years. I know what I've experienced in 21 years. It's been everything from, you know, a horror novel to a thriller to sci-fi to
romance, but also romance.
And romance. There's been romance in there. There have been, you know, many times of romance in there. But I think that why it's important is I think that where is there a space out there right now where somebody's on this side of the fence is telling the truth about what it's like to live with an addict?
And what does it mean to tell the truth for you?
To not be afraid anymore. I think I spent years being afraid of my own shadow, of my own decisions.
And your loss. You were afraid of loss, right? I mean,
Terrified.
absolutely.
Terrified.
Yeah.
I was afraid of if I didn't. For me, it was a unique situation in my own way, but I think I'm not unique to anybody else who's in on my side of the car. I thought I could fix this person. I thought that I could try everything. I could buy him a new car. I could take him on a round the world cruise. I could support him financially. I could support him in any business venture that he had. As long as I stayed
Right.
and didn't abandon him, that I would either get the T-shirt at the end that said, I did it, he's better, and I'm the hero. But I think what I learned from myself was if I didn't abandon him, he'd never leave me.
Right. It's interesting you brought up a car because it feels like you've always been trying to drive the car from the passenger seat. And, it's like you don't have a wheel, you don't have the pedals, you're not in control of the where it's going. But you were so damn determined to make sure you could make sure that car stayed on the track, stayed on the road.
And it's funny that you say that, right? Because I used to make this comparison to him. I used to say, some days I would feel like I'm in the passenger seat and I would think we're fine. And he was driving the car and we're on the road and everything's okay today. And then I would fall asleep in the passenger seat, take a nap. And then I'd wake up and the car was on fire. And, the emergency vehicles were around us. And I was like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
How are we in a ditch? And why is the car sideways? And why are we on fire?
Yeah.
And I closed my eyes for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But you're right. I thought I had control in places I didn't have any control.
I mean, not to make him out to be a villain, which sometimes I think he is, but he's just an addict.
Correct.
And he's an addict who's been, sorry, I just dropped my ear. I'll be right back.
I love you.
I love you too. I'm back. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. He's just an addict. And what's it been like forgiving an addict for 21 years?
I don't know if I can say I have.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say I have, Byron. I think that I'm better than I was. I'm not as angry as I was. I don't know if you can really... I think that's the goal, right? Is to get to a place where all is forgiven.
Right.
But I think what's more important is I needed to forgive myself.
Right.
Because I made choices, Byron, and you know this, knowing me as long as you have. I made some really, really bad choices. And the person that I hurt the worst in this was myself.
Yeah, I mean, you could say you made bad choices. I think at the time they were the only choices you could make. So the hardest part always been through all this is how much you beat yourself up and how much it cost you both emotionally and physically. And I'd like you to talk about how the emotional and has caused physical pain in your life.
I think you're right. I have beaten myself. It's not easy when, your husband, who you love more than life, cheats on you, has affairs with women that get paid.
Bad people.
When he lies to your face. And you want to believe the lies, right? I thought that I could just, as long as I showed up, I don't think I realized what it was doing to myself. And what I lost in those years that I've had to refine was it took my self-worth, my self-esteem. I was comparing myself to a 20-year-old hooker that was a size 2. this girl's never going to be a size 2, nor is she going to be blonde, nor is she going to be 20-something years old again.
Right.
And that was really painful. It was really painful when my addict husband would choose every major holiday in our lives, birthdays, Valentine's Day, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, to screw it all up.
Right.
And then for me personally, look, I was diagnosed with lupus, almost 10 years ago. So yeah, I couldn't get out of bed and I couldn't participate and be up and out. And that got thrown in my face. And that became an excuse for why some of the behaviors were happening. And I took that on like I was a terrible wife because I couldn't get out of bed. And I, had this autoimmune disease that, by the way, it was only getting made worse because of the stress I was living in. So it was like a lose-lose situation, right? And I think I was so resentful and angry that he was showing up for other people and not for me.
Sure.
When I had shown up for him for how many years? I think that it's just a complex, loving an addict comes with a very high price tag.
And the word you said was really important, where you just said love. He never stopped loving you, no matter how effed up he may have gotten. I know that person loves you. Is he capable of real love? That's another question. Did you love him? Were you in a loving relationship? Sure looked like it from me, no matter how much he hated himself, that he was willing to basically firebomb and scorch earth your relationship on a almost cyclical basis. I mean, you guys would get really bad. Somehow you'd make it through and you'd get back together, and then you just got back in that cycle. Have you stopped the cycle, one? And two, when did you decide it was okay to love yourself and not just love him?
You and I have had this conversation many times.
Yeah.
And I used my friends for a long time, you included, to try and fix the problem. How many times did I ask you to call him, talk to him,
Deliver
a message?
No, not just a message. I had a book. I had to go to. Remember when I had to go to you?
He was in yet his 80th rehab.
Yes.
And it was in Portland.
And you wrote a book. And you had me hand deliver the book. He was not happy about that.
Look, it was 60 pages.
Yeah.
Of our life together.
Yeah.
And it read like a horror novel.
Yeah.
And, look, I came to my friends to try and solve the problem. I came to therapists, hoping that they would tell him that he was the problem. I tried everything.
I'm going back to the question. I think I want you to answer this question for me and for us and from our friendship. When did you stop the cycle? Has it been recent? Has it been within the last year? Or has it been something you've been working up to?
So I think I had always tried to stop the cycle, and I failed miserably. And I want people to really hear that, because I think that there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people out there who are in my situation who are in the cycle, right? And everyone said to me, after every major incident, everyone would say to me, is this the time it's over? Has he finally done it so badly that this time it's over? And it got so bad and it still wasn't over.
Right.
And so for me, you ask, I'd be really specific. It was Easter, and I had to go in for surgery, unexpected surgery. And I was in the hospital, and I had seen him that day. He brought me an Easter basket, and then he left. And then the doctor came and said, we found a mass in your gallbladder, and we don't know if it's benign or malignant. And I went into a frenzy, and I called him at home, and he answered and said, it's all good. We'll deal with it tomorrow. We don't know anything. And I couldn't sleep all night. And the next morning next morning when I was still awake, I did something I haven't done, I don't think even since we moved into our house. I checked my ring cam. And I saw him leave the house to go buy drugs. I know this routine. And then 3 hours later, I saw him invite a hooker into my house. And then my housekeeper that morning found the condom in our sunroom. And something broke in me.
Yeah.
I banned him from the hospital. I came home, and he wouldn't leave the house. So I barricaded myself in my bedroom and locked the doors and bought locks with keys. This is my insanity. And my housekeeper was the only one with the keys. And I was a prisoner in my own home because I didn't want to face him or see him. And that was the day that or several days later, that I called a lawyer who I'm actually talking to in another podcast. And that was my breaking. Yeah. And he left. We got him out of the house. And I was faced with the first time of having to live alone. Really alone. And you know what? I didn't die.
You didn't die. You didn't die. And actually, I think you're thriving. I think you're thriving. And I think I love what's happening. I love that you're doing this podcast. I want to ask a hard question. Is that okay?
Of course. I'm an open book, my love.
This not only costs you emotionally and physically, but financially, this has been huge, right? Because so I want you to talk to the listener who maybe not have the means that you have, and talk about how, regardless of where you are financially, it will suck your money dry. Whether you're on food stamps or whether you're well off. Can you talk about that?
Sure. And look, I want to be real clear. I'm financially okay today, but it wasn't always like this. You know, I was living. When we first got married, I allowed his addiction to steal his addiction and therefore my behavior in trying to save him to cost me my business, my home, my car, my friends. I was, beg, borrowing, and stealing to pay a bill. My family had cut me off financially completely. In fact, not just financially, they ceased all communication with me. They said, we are not okay with the decisions that you've made in your life to be with this person. And didn't talk to me for 4 years. So I had no safety net. None.
How did you survive?
It was, it's funny. I have a family member who, I'm going to remain nameless for now, who said that I only became strong because they allowed me to drown.
Do you agree with that?
No.
Okay.
I think there are ways you can get strong without being abandoned and left to drown.
Yeah.
But I had no choice.
Yeah.
What it did teach me was that you could abandon me and I would be okay.
Yeah.
just not the addict.
Right.
That I could cut off everybody else in my life, but for some reason, the addict had a noose around my neck.
Right.
And
Yes,
I
it really
couldn't let go.
He almost hung you, didn't he? It
Oh.
got very. I mean, could have easily shoved you off the cliff, right? I mean,
And I could have shoved myself off the cliff.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
And honestly, almost did.
It's going to be a really strange question, but was there some? It's a weird word I'm going to use. Joy or satisfaction in knowing that you were doing everything you could. That you're basically ripping your chest open and exposing your heart. Was there some? Did you get any satisfaction out of that?
I think that I go back to sort of what I said earlier, right? I think that you have to be really broken.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, a healthy person meets somebody who's an addict, sees the insanity and says, I'm out.
Right.
No thanks. Moving on.
Right.
I was broken.
Yeah.
And in being so broken, it allowed the addict in my life to keep me hanging on because I put all of my self-worth and my self-esteem and my reason for living into this person.
Right.
Right? So if he
And
was
you were
okay,
let's talk about, you were so successful outside of this person. You
1,000%.
Television, movies, publicity all over the world, Today Show, all this stuff. You were so successful, and then you let this I wanted to say a bad word, but I'm not going to. This person, you let him drag you down, even when you were achieving such high pinnacles professionally. Personally, you were being dragged through the mud.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I had to recreate myself twice.
Mm-hmm.
When I met him, I had a successful career in PR. I was a successful publicist, and I allowed my decisions that I made because of his addiction to cost me everything.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, his career became my career because it was the only way I knew how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward, 8 years into our relationship, marriage, I finally decided that the only way I knew how to make a living was to go back to being a publicist again.
Mm-hmm.
Enter Byron back.
Yeah, well,
And
that's another story. I mean, I was so happy I got to meet you, and
let me tell you something.
You created me, so
No, I wanna actually correct that story. Coming to Portland, not having any PR contacts in Portland, and not knowing anybody, you were the name in town. If you didn't know Byron Beck, you didn't know. You were not a part of the social circle, the inner circle, the any circle. And I remember you and I having our first coffee at Starbucks that was supposed to be a 15-minute coffee that ended up being a 2 to 3 hour. And I found my soulmate.
I found my angel.
I am not an angel.
Well, you're not a devil.
Some would maybe disagree.
Okay. But you were, I mean, and I was your angel. And we were somehow connected. I think through some pain. I think that in some ways, what you were going through, I can totally identify with. I like when you say that you have a PhD in chaos. And I want you to explain what you mean by that when you talk about that.
I mean, I've kind of become a pro at this, right? Like, I mean, I had a father who was an addict, but I was too young to know. So I only knew when he got sober. And he never relapsed. So I didn't know what a relapse was. I didn't know really about addiction. And so when I met my husband and, he relapsed, and he and I were friends for 2 years before we ever were a couple. But when he relapsed 3 months into our relationship on Christmas Day, mind you,
Geez.
I woke up on Christmas Day and he was gone. And I thought he was at a morning meeting until I uncovered that he wasn't. And that was my first experience with relapse. And that became my journey of 21 years.
Yeah. Would you say were you addicted to him?
1,000%.
Okay, keep going.
I want to clarify that because I think a lot of people understand this. The addict is addicted to his or her drug of choice. And I think that for me, and I can only speak for myself, I was addicted to saving him.
Yes.
And I said it earlier and I'll say it again. If he was okay, I was okay. And I read something in a book once a long time ago, and I really think it's important. It said, I didn't know how I felt in the morning until how I saw how X was feeling. I didn't know how I would open my eyes in the morning and I would turn over and guess what? Some days he disappeared in the middle of the night. It got so bad that to stop him, thinking I could stop him from disappearing in the middle of the night, I was sleeping in front of the door. Literally making a bed in front of the door and sleeping there, and guess what? He went out the window. So, yeah, I learned in 21 years how to function in chaos.
You know what? I'm going to say something. I don't think I've ever seen you this vulnerable as you are right now. And because you're a tough person, you're a strong person, you get things done, you work in New York City. It's not the easiest place to be a publicist. And I like the vulnerability. And I want to ask you a few lightning round questions.
Sure.
What's the one thing you wish people understood about loving an addict?
That if you're going to venture down this road, know that it is going to be full of pain. It is not easy. And there is nothing, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, there is not anything you can do. And trust me, I had the resources, the brains, the creativity, the outside the box thinking. There ain't nothing you can do to make them stop doing what they're doing until they're ready to stop.
Right. Can I ask you, through all these years, what's the one thing you felt like you did right through all this process? What's one thing you did right?
I don't know if there's anything I did right by.
Oh, come on.
I think I survived.
Yes.
And there were many times I didn't think I was going to survive. But I survived.
You survived. And you know what? A lot of us didn't think you were going to survive either, because some of that stuff was really, especially around the lupus and around when he would just kind of like disappear when you were really sick. Like we thought, how can she make and you are tough, So this vulnerability you're showing today is really important, because it's important that people see that a tough person like you can be vulnerable when talking about this subject. What's one thing you would never do again from this process?
I would never, I'm at a place, and I only say this from the place I'm in now, I would never allow someone to steal my self-worth again.
Yeah.
You can help somebody, you can love somebody, you can support somebody. But the minute it starts to take away who you are and you can't look in the mirror anymore, that is the one thing.
Yeah. It's pretty profound. It's pretty profound what you're saying. So, tell me where we're talking, two best friends talking. Where does this show go from now? Where does it go next?
You know what? I am so excited about this show. And I think I said this at the beginning, I looked at my 21 years and I was like, what do I have to show for it? Pain, agony. I'm legally separated. He's not living at home. What do I have to show for it? And this podcast came to me because I wanted people to have a place to be honest, to feel safe, to know they weren't going to be judged, and to laugh. Because you know what, Byron?
Yeah.
There's some of the shit that I went through, let me tell you. If I didn't laugh,
Yeah.
I mean, I can look back on it now and laugh.
Yeah.
Right? At the time I was in it, like, it was hell in a handbasket. I mean, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
But I can look back on it now and be like, okay, crazy lady. Like, I mean, I was sending care packages to rehab like it was summer camp.
Yeah.
Like most spouses were like, just go. I was like, and let me send the socks and let me send the cute sweatshirt and let me send cards. I mean, I just want to make a funny here. Like, I was so dumb at the beginning of this. When he got 30 days of sobriety in our beginning of our relationship, I threw him a party with a cake. I invited 50 people and got 30 cards and hung them on a wall. He had 30 days, my friend. Today, I'm like, talk to me when you got like 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but back then I was like, 30 days? We're like, this is a home run. We're like, we're golden.
Yeah.
We're good.
I also think this podcast, for me, watching you do this, it's part of your legacy. It's something you can give back to you've been always such a giver. You send the best presents of all time to all you send really good presents. I mean, really good presents. And, but this is something you give from your heart, and this is part of your legacy. And I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I don't think we've had a conversation like this in a long time, and it means a lot to me that you let me be a part of this very first podcast. I love you with all my heart.
And I want you to know something. I was terrified to start this podcast today. I was, and let me tell you, things don't scare me, and I do this for my clients every day. And I was terrified today. And not about being honest, because I can be honest until the sun comes up. The only thing that got me through this first conversation was knowing that you were on the other end of this.
Sure.
Because you've seen me at my worst. Mm-hmm. You've been through it all with me. Mm-hmm. To have somebody in your life who doesn't judge you, who doesn't tell you what to do, and tells you, you're driving the car, Sam, and whatever decision you make, I'm right behind you.
Exactly.
I'm not going to tell you to divorce the person you're with. I'm not going to tell you to leave the person with. I'm not going to tell you to stay. You tell me what you're doing, and I will be behind you. And that, my dear, is a friend.
Yeah.
And I love you from the bottom of my heart.
I love you. And you didn't cry. You got to keep your mascara.
I did. Thank you for being here. I love you.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you soon.
Good job. I'm going to cry now.
And we're done.
Lies, relapses, late night calls, therapist detox, emotional brawls. I've lived through chaos, tears, and gaslighting blame, and now I've turned it into a podcast game.